Recently, I've been seeing posts and headlines going around about how geese is a psyop or an industry plant. So today, I decided to take a look at the article that started this whole rumor to see for myself whether Cameron Winter was an industry plant or an industry animal. I don't even know what any of this means. Okay, I'll explain then. Here's who Geese is. Geese is an artist. They make music. They are a rock band from google.com. I mean, New York City. I get those confused a lot. They've been making music for a while. They're all like 23 and they got signed right out of high school. Their first album was Projector, then 3D Country, getting killed 2 years after each other. They really blew up when Cameron Winter released Heavy Metal. The story goes that Cameron Winter put out his solo album. He's like the lead singer. Then that went viral, and then Geese has been going viral. But apparently that's not true, and he's not wearing a shirt either, and that's a fun fact for you. Anyway, I think the probably the most famous song off of this album is this one. This is the one with the baby, where he's arguing with the child. I don't know if you can show this. I don't know if you can show babies on Twitch. Look at how chill that baby is, though. Dream Blunt Rotation. Okay, so that's one song by Geese. That is one song. They've got several other songs. They've made several other... There's this one where he goes, "There's a bomb in my car." When are we getting to the psyop part? Sorry, we're doing cultural literacy right now because apparently nobody knows anything. Apparently nobody knows anything. So, yeah, the psyop part. Which one of these is your guys' favorite? I like this one. Tell me your favorite one in the comment. So this is the reading stream. I don't know if I said that, but we're going to be reading an article. So get ready. We're reading journalism today. Basically, here's my like thing about this, right? Before we get started, my current impression is that I don't think that Geese is a psyop. And I don't even think that they've done like deceptive marketing. I think that they've just done a good job at marketing their band. I think that they've had like Cameron Winter has done a lot of crazy like interviews, like especially with the New York Times. Like he's showed up multiple times in the New York Times, which is like crazy because it's the New York Times, right? That's the news outlet. And you know, I feel like if you can get them to notice you, you're doing pretty well. And I think that they've kind of just shown up out of nowhere and taken over the indie world. But it's also like I think it's just because they have a lot of connections. They're in New York City. New York City is the city of dreams, the Windy City, you know, Beantown as they call it. And I think that they're just able to kind of use that to their advantage. I think that he just has like a really good agent and was able to get like interviews with everybody. But maybe that's not true. Maybe he's MK Ultra too. So let's figure that out, I guess. Brooklyn indie rockers Geese shot to the heights of rock and roll fame at the end of 2025. Their fourth album, Getting Killed, was released in late September and dominated the year's top 10 lists. Their fall tour sold out almost everywhere. The collective buzz earned them slots at Saturday Night Live. Okay, that's not like an achievement though. Let's be honest here. And at Coachella, and made the band and frontman Cameron Winter, who has his own solo career, something close to a household name. The Guardian's review of the new record called Geese, the New Saviors of Rock and Roll. Their explosion onto the scene seemingly out of nowhere led to an inevitable backlash. Haters called them a psyop. You see, here's the thing too, is that I think that people just like calling something that they dislike a psyop because that means that they have a reason that everybody should dislike it that you can't really disagree with. Some question their sudden seeming rise to superstardom, calling them an industry plant. Others, while acknowledging their talent, attributed their fame to savvy marketing. Certainly when a band blows up so quickly, it can seem inorganic and a bit weird. When a band moves from the edges of the conversation to smack in the center, it can raise suspicions that its darling status was attributable to some sort of backroom machinations rather than a rare combination of talent, hard work, and a bit of good luck. What does psyop mean for the illiterate? You see, this is the thing, is I don't think that this is a correct usage of it because it's a psychological operation, right? Which is it's like a thing that spy organizations use. They are military organizations to convey selected information and indicators to audiences to influence their motives and objective reasoning and ultimately the behavior of governments, organizations, groups, and large foreign powers. So I think what they're saying is that Cameron Winter is going to be the president of the United States. I think the idea is that like they're using deceptive tactics to influence people, which is just marketing. That's just what marketing is, right? Now, those paranoid seeming suspicions have been proven true, sort of. In late March, the co-founders of the digital marketing company Chaotic Good Projects, who provide, per its Instagram, digital experiments and musical mayhem, appeared on Billboard's On the Record podcast. In the episode recorded live at South by Southwest, Chaotic Good's Andrew Spellman and Jesse Corin explained how their viral marketing methods work. Okay, who are these people? Just like a marketing firm. There's really not a lot that this website is giving me. I'm not going to email you, bro. They're a .org. How did they get a .org? It is a little weird to put like the Illuminati eye as like a scrolling image on your website. Did the Freemasons promote Geese to stardom? Essentially, the firm creates networks of social media pages, typically on TikTok, and uses them to drive the band's music into the recommendation algorithm. Songs are dropped into the backgrounds of videos, live clips are shared. Sometimes burner accounts, comments, and whole ecosystems of interactions can be fabricated out of digital cloth, stoking and in some cases completely manufacturing discourse around an artist. These ginned up interactions push the songs and the discussion about them higher up a platform's algorithmic rankings, and social media platforms like TikTok and YouTube are increasingly where real fans discover new music. We can drive impressions on anything at this point, Spellman told Billboard. We know how to go viral. We have thousands of pages. Spellman has dubbed the process trend simulation, and the campaigns themselves are referred to by Chaotic Good as narrative or UGC for user-generated content campaigns. I get why this is weird now. Now, Chaotic Good co-founder Adam Tarsia confirms to Wired that his company engineered campaigns for both Geese and Cameron Winter. I understand that industry plant discourse is inevitable, but we've had the pleasure of being Geese fans since their 2021 project Projector, which, he notes, was released 4 years before his agency launched. The long bubbling suspicions about the band's rise boiled over the first week of April. A viral Substack post by singer-songwriter Eliza McLam traced the connection between Geese and Chaotic Good and molded the fuzzy ethics of such marketing. As McLam summed up the model, if 100 people think your song sucks, Chaotic Good will create 200 people who think your song is awesome. What I'm hearing is that the idea is that this is bad because instead of letting a band grow naturally, they are using a very deceptive form of marketing. I mean, like, this is another thing, is that if this is a paid service, they're supposed to put #ad in the comments, right? Or like in the description, they're supposed to kind of disclose that advertising. I mean, this is definitely kind of it's a more of a gray area for like the FCC, I think. Is it the Federal Communications Commission? On whether this is advertising or not, because it's not really advertising, it's just pretending to be real people. I wasn't expecting the piece to be as widely shared as it was, and I was happy to see a conversation get started around the whole thing. McLam, who is currently on tour supporting her 2025 album Good Story, says in her post titled Fake Fans. I've been wary of people referring to it in any way as a hit piece or even particularly investigative. I just listened to an interview and poked around a website. The most compelling part to me in many ways was how plainly all these tactics were discussed, even as the tactics themselves succeeded when operating somewhat out of view. The situation got a little sketchier when, shortly after McLam's post started spreading in Music Biz articles, Chaotic Good wiped mentions of specific artists, including Geese and Cameron Winter, from its website. They wiped everything from their website, dude. Is there like an internet archive version of this? Hold up. It is kind of one of those things where it's like, if you're doing this for people, you don't really want people to know about it. It's also kind of weird to call yourself Chaotic Good if this is how you're doing it. This is weird. Why is there nothing? Is this not like an actual link? Hold up. I think it has to be like one of these sub pages. Is this me? Is this like a setting on my browser? Huh. Strange. What about their Instagram? What's on here? Nothing. They wiped specific artists. This too, the company freely admits. The team also removed reference to narrative campaigns. We took things down from the site so our artist partners don't get wrapped up in false accusations or misconceptions about how their music was discovered, Tarsia says. False accusations? Much of the discourse around narrative campaigns we were seeing online was not accurate to how they actually function. In practice, narrative campaigns mostly consist of consulting on digital PR strategy. I mean, like, because this is a black box, right? Nobody really understands what's happening with this. It's their company, and they don't have anything on their website. Attention span's so bad, I started watching reels. Hold up. Wait, I got you. There we go. It's an open secret in the music industry that all the numbers, play counts, follower stats are fake or at least obfuscated. What? What does that mean? Last year, a California-based rapper sued Spotify, alleging he and other musicians were losing money because of artificially inflated streams. The complaint cited Drake, who is not a defendant, claiming that his Spotify streams were inauthentic and appeared to be a work of sprawling network of bot accounts. Bots and streaming farms have become a marketing expense. Wait, I didn't know this. That's crazy. I knew about like bot farms, and I knew that people were doing that to like make money on like small artist accounts. But I didn't know that like actual companies were doing it. That's kind of ridiculous. For an industry that used to ply radio DJs with steak dinners, backstage passes, and lines of blow in exchange for airtime, it's business as usual. Among some fans, there's sometimes a naive hope that indie artists should be held to a different, perhaps higher standard. Nobody minds when major label pop stars do this sort of thing. It's expected, but bands who trade in hard-earned credibility can take a hit. We are vehemently opposed to the use of bot farms, and our team solely consists of genuine music fans. So we are protective and aware of the relationship between fan community and artists and want to aid that connection, not force it. So what they're saying is that like our company is like based on like making fake accounts and then promoting music in kind of this weird way, but like it's fine because we all actually like the music, which is honestly not a terrible argument, but it's kind of ignoring a lot. The idea of a PR firm creating dozens of social media accounts to push new music or artists may seem slightly sinister, in part because the very idea of an account arguably presumes some sort of independent consciousness behind it. But is it really any different in essence than dozens of music blogs republishing the same press releases, pushing that same music and those same bands? These tactics follow a golden rule of so much online discourse, which another of Chaotic Good's founding partners summed up in that Billboard interview: everything on the internet is fake. For her part, McLam says that these sorts of new, extremely online marketing campaigns are no more or less nefarious than anything else that's been going on in the music business since the dawn of time. Asked if she would ever consent to these sorts of trend-simulating marketing tactics promoting her own music, McLam is unequivocal. I would absolutely take part in a narrative or UGC campaign. That's funny. That's crazy, dude. So what are we doing? So what's the idea here, right? So here's my thing about this, right? Is that this is weird. This is for sure weird, but it's just kind of a less obvious advertising campaign. But it's also like Geese is just doing this and also everything else, right? Because they're going the traditional music way. Like, are they really an indie artist? Is Cigarettes After Sex really an indie artist? Like, let's be real here. They're under the same label, so they should be in like the same category. But it's like, at some point, if you have 29 million monthly listeners, you have a label, you know, you've got songs with 2.4 billion streams. It's like, you're not really just doing it yourself anymore. You can't do all of the work for a band that is so popular, you know? Anyway, there's another video that I saw. This is actually the way that I found out about this, was this video right here, Invisible Advertising. So let's do a reaction stream. We're just trying things out today.
If you're any bit tapped into the indie music scene, you've heard of the band Geese before. Sold out tours behind their 2025 album, Getting Killed, and NPR.
I will say the tour selling out is insane because like they only have 1.7 million monthly listeners, which is like still a lot, but it's like you don't expect them to sell out immediately. I checked their tour date for Boston, which they had 2 days, by the way. I checked their tour date 2 hours after the tickets went live and they were gone. All of them were gone. It was like they were being resold for like $170 each. And it's like, it's not worth.
If you're anything like me, you're wondering how a band like this has managed to break into mainstream discussions dominated by solo acts that feel worlds away from anything post-punk. Well, for one, they're talented. There's not much to debate there. But is it all talent, or is there some?
This is a good point, right? A marketing campaign like this works, right? And it works well, but it doesn't work for a band that sucks, right? It doesn't work if your band is like old car seat headrest. It just doesn't. Like you can create fake discourse and whatever, but it's not going to kind of snowball unless your band actually does have some merit.
They helped distribute performance clips and interviews on TikTok by creating networks of accounts that looked like everyday fans. Here's
another thing is that streamers do this. Streamers do this all the time. It's actually a Twitch feature now, where when you like clip a stream, it like asks you to share it to your own social media account. It's very strange. If we go to clip my stream, right, there's already a portrait version like automatically here. This is like a thing that you can set up as a viewer, and then you choose where the portrait, like the face cam is, and then you hit apply. You save the clip, and then it asks you to put it on to like YouTube. Like it gives you a button that literally just lets you upload it to YouTube. Like they're trying to push this, and it's like this is maybe a little bit less inauthentic than like making up accounts to do this, but it's still like you're still not actually making the content yourself. You're getting other people to do it, and like people pay people to clip now. Before short form was really as big as it is now, you would just have an editor and then make a video out of your stream, and now it's like, oh, you have clippers who literally just watch your streams and then just will make clips for you, and that's their job, and it's kind of ridiculous.
Videos, sharing footage, and building comment section momentum until the algorithm treated it as organic. Real people saw it, shared it, and suddenly it was trending. Chaotic Good had even listed Geese along with other artists like McGee and Oaklew, as well as other clients.
Oh my god, that makes so much sense actually. Two Hollis, Bras Children, Snow Stripper, dude, all of these people, I listen to all of these people. Racing Mount Pleasant, Oaklew, dude, these are all, yeah, this all makes sense. These are all people who came out of like nowhere and just got like crazy popular. Jane Remover, Alden, Geese, The Help, oh my god. This is my entire music taste. Tiffany Day, I don't even use TikTok, that's the thing. Man, I gotta listen to other artists.
This kind of artificial grassroots marketing tactic isn't new either. Take, for example, Clavicular. In February of 2026, through his part.
Who is clavicular, by the way? Let's figure this out. He's just a streamer, right? Looks maxing influencer. Charged after alleged alligator shooting. He shot an alligator? Who is this guy? Did I just catch him as like the moment that he's going apeshit? What's happening? Became known in 2025 on TikTok and Kick for his looks maxing content, which commentators have described as extreme and controversial, particularly for his advocacy of practices including facial bone smashing, getting cosmetic plastic surgery, taking anabolic steroids, and using methamphetamine for its anoretic property. In December 2025, a live stream clip of Peters hitting a man with a Tesla Cybertruck went viral online and brought him to wider attention, as did his interview with the right-wing political commentator Michael Knowles, which he described United States Vice President J.D. Vance as subhuman, contrasting him with the California Governor Gavin Newsom, whom he labeled a Chad. Following controversies while appearing alongside far-right streamers, Peters has described himself as apolitical. You can't be apolitical. He's younger than me? Oh my god, I need to step it up. Dude, he's younger than me and he buys shirts that are way tighter than mine. I gotta get on this. According to Peters, he began injecting himself with testosterone supplements at age 14. Peters has stated in interviews that he would often hide his testosterone supplements from his parents. Well, yeah. And when caught, he would be sent to live with his grandmother. He began attending Sacred Heart University in the fall of 2024 and was expelled for hiding testosterone in his dorm 3 weeks after matriculating, which according to him was the result of looksmax.org users reporting him to the school's administration. This is a bad idea. This is a bad website to go to on stream. Beautiful. It's a beautiful world we live in. 150 free spins? No fucking way. Dude, you're telling me there's free spins? Dude, come on. What? Not allowed?
Company known as Clipping. His clips amassed over 1 billion views across platforms like X, YouTube, and TikTok.
Wait, so this guy ran a guy over with a Tesla Cybertruck and then started paying ad agencies to promote him.
In March 2026, Clavicular's clips amassed over 2.2 billion views across 69,550 videos to a total of 1,610 clippers contracted.
Dude, he's got like a company working. He's got like an actual, he could mobilize those people. Maybe this guy should become president.
As I said, nobody likes being manipulated. That icky feeling you get when you realize you're a consumer being played a fool. Advertisers have been battling that exact fear since the dawn of advertising.
Yeah, this is another thing, is that I think there's some like kind of inherent like, oh, I'm being manipulated, that everybody, like when people get manipulated, they feel that as like a bad thing, which is true. It is a bad thing to I think it's a bad thing to manipulate people without them knowing it. It's a bad thing to be dishonest with people. But there was this video I watched by Eddie Burback the other day. It was the Ghost Kitchens one. And essentially the concept between Ghost Kitchens is that like they're not real restaurants and they show up on DoorDash. And then it'll be like one company making like 100 different restaurants. And then those restaurants will all have different menus, but sometimes they'll have like one thing that's the same on all the menus and it'll be the same food. And none of them are real restaurants and they're taking up. I think the actual thing that's bad about it is that it takes up search results. Like it pushes an actual local business out of the way and puts all these fake restaurants there. He wasn't really saying that in the part of the video that I watched. And he was just like, this is so weird. And then, but every time he bought the food, he was like, it's kind of good though. And it's like, okay. If the food's good, it's kind of just like they're making a fake restaurant at DoorDash, and that's I don't really see that as that bad. It's just kind of weird that they wouldn't tell you that it's fake.
Edward Bernays, the literal founder of modern PR and the nephew of Sigmund Freud, in his 1928 book Propaganda states, "The conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government which is the true ruling power of our country. We are governed, our minds are molded, our tastes formed, our ideas suggested, largely by men we've never heard of. This is a logical result of the way in which our democratic society is organized."
It is interesting because it's like we get a this is getting so political so fast, but like when you have a country, right, where the culture is extremely individualistic, where it's like, I want everything to be about me. I want everything to be my choice. This is the American way, right? Is that everything is my choice. You can't restrict my choice, et cetera, et cetera. When you have a culture like that, as opposed to a culture where it's like, oh, what the government says is respectable. What the government says is something that we should do. when they have like less of control over that, what they need to do in order to actually make anything happen in society is kind of just lie to everybody to get everybody to believe something false so that they'll mobilize in a way that is beneficial to the government, you know? Is that better than just like having a dictatorship and a general culture that's like, oh, let's trust the dictator randomly? Like maybe not, I don't know.
Women that smoking Lucky Strike cigarettes was a feminist act of liberation. He staged debutantes lighting up during the Easter parade. Cigarette sales for women skyrocketed.
This is another giant thing that's like everybody's like, oh, I would never smoke cigarettes, but they look so cool. They look so cool, and it's like, no, they don't. They don't look cool. Companies have told you that they look cool. Be a free thinker.
Suddenly, the brand isn't being sold to you. It's being talked about by people who seem just like you. This is the ultimate subversion of your distaste for ads. It appears genuine. You think you're getting social proof from the crowd, not a corporation, but when the curtain is pulled back, you realize those fans were paid.
Okay, so this is a Big Brother type situation where you're telling me that I don't like the advertising that's lying to me. I get to choose which advertising I like and I dislike. Maybe I like it when they lie to me. Maybe I like it when I don't see the advertisements and I don't know they're advertisements. Maybe I like it when I think that there's no advertisements because I have an ad blocker and everything I see online is just the truth and I get to listen to a fun band. Maybe I like that, huh? Maybe I like that.
A good marketer will almost always outperform a good artist.
I'm not sure that that's true. I think like a mid artist that markets well will outperform a good artist. I think there's no bad artist that gets famous, you know? Well, there's some songs that it's like, I seriously just don't get it. I think Young Lean has some really cool songs, but like, what is this, dude? Being on old people's houses, 383 million streams. I don't understand that. This is a thing though, is that Spotify will just randomly like promote tracks from artists. Like It's Always Sex by Car Seat Headrest is just really popular, and I think it's because it just recommends it as a suggested song because of like metadata or something.
Lied to by people who are paid to gain your trust. You feel cheated and betrayed. What's the solution? Is there an answer?
Is this Chernobyl? What?
A problem to begin with. After all, every successful creator is marketing in some way. Why draw the line here? Do you cry evil psyop and shade geese because it makes you feel like you're fighting something more important than a small band with a team of marketers? This is where the discussion tends to derail. Abstract conversations on capitalism, emotional rants about distaste for mass appeal, vague back-end notions to support your local scene. It is this never-ending.
This is true. I appreciate people when they have opinions that are like clearly coming from a good place when it's like, yeah, you dislike capitalism, you dislike these things, you like supporting indie artists because you get to see your friends succeed, stuff like that. But at some point it does become like, okay, we've said this so many times that it's like, can we say something else, you know? I think what bothers me about it is that it doesn't have enough specific action behind it. It's like, oh, just support local artists, and it's like, okay, tell me who. And tell me how that helps. Show me the artist, right? Instead of using your like vocal bandwidth to tell me to support local music, tell me somebody to support. Give me someone that you really like that should have more listeners, right? I have an idea for them too. Find these smaller artists and then make a bunch of accounts dedicated to like standing them. Make those accounts interact with each other. You could probably even set it up with like AI bots, you know, that would make it a little bit easier for you. Or you could get like a team of like, let's say 60 to 1,400 people to kind of like, you know, record them at live shows, put those clips online, and then you could support them that way.
In other words, if the idea that everyone wants X product means that X product is of high value, then there is a natural incentive to convince people to want X product, even if it's made with little value, effort, or care. This is the double-edged sword of supply and demand. Both examples rooted in the idea that people prefer beautiful lies over ugly truths. Ideas that sound good on paper, but don't lead to nor come from anything actually good.
I think that people just I think they like things that other people like, you know? I mean, that's why this sort of thing works, is that if you are able to kind of convince other people that other people are listening to the artist, it means that they get to connect with other people on that, whether it's artistically good or not, you know? It's a reason why people don't really respect modern art, I think, you know, like Jackson Pollock, stuff like that. It's not really because it's like bad art. I think it's more because there's nothing really to pull out of it as the observer, and so you can't really connect with your fellow people about it. Why do you have a Roadworks ahead sign in your room? Roadwork ahead? I sure hope it does. Let's look at this guy's shirt. Why is Jake on the back of it? Dude, what is this guy's shirt? He's got the flannel's ripped off at the, it's a button up and it's ripped off at the, it's not even like a t-shirt. It's like halfway between a tank top and a t-shirt, that length. And then he's got like a white t-shirt under it. He's got his hat is just a silver bar. What is happening in this scene? There's nothing on the TV. They have a basketball that looks like it has a chain around it. These are unidentified objects. I think that this is a video from like an alien. They've got nothing in this cabinet at all, actually. They have Christmas lights on the couch. Who are these people, bro? They have both sides of the room have curtains. Both sides of the room have windows. What kind of place is this? 3 solo cups of beer and a Sprite. Sprite is untouched. The beers look untouched. I'm freaking out, man. Who made this? Probably AI generated? It looks real enough. You can tell because the lighting's all weird, I think. Like there's a lot of different light sources. I feel like AI video wouldn't do that. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Link to this channel is down below. Let's go, guys. While you're at it, like and subscribe too. True. Son Caesar. Everybody, go check out this guy. Also, check out all the clips accounts that I made for him.
Explore libraries, record crates, and internet forums to discover and promote artists not for monetary sponsorship or social signaling, but for the true physical wealth that great art naturally provides. Energy, happiness.
Okay, I will say this is a little bit of like pretentious slop. I will say that, where it's like, oh, art provides wealth. You've got to act in this way, go against the mainstream. And it's like, I don't know if this is free thinking or just another version of the mass appeal where it's like, oh, all my friends do it this way and dislike the mainstream thing. I feel like we're like 8 layers deep in like abstract thought, and it's just mindfucky. It was a pretty good video. What kind of stuff does he make? Oh, this was his first video. Interesting. I did like this video. I thought it brought up some good points, and I'm glad that it acknowledged that like maybe this isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it's just the way the world is going, right? We had a golden age of the internet there for a little bit where like we weren't being manipulated by giant companies, but frankly, it's kind of just dying out, I think, which is unfortunate. I want to like kind of broaden my horizons with what artists I listen to, because I feel like too many of those people were on that one list and I didn't enjoy that concept at all. Anyway, what's the verdict? Is Geese a psyop? No. I'm gonna say no. I think that people like hating on Geese because Cameron Winter's voice is funny. I mean, Cameron Winter's solo album took me a little while to kind of warm up to, but I remember listening to like Drinking Age first and like getting him in like my day list and stuff and being like, dude, who is this? I looked at him and like low-key thought he was like a guy from COVID I never listened to. I was like, why is he so big? I don't think Geese is a psyop. I just think that they are using a weird new age advertising tactic, and we should probably address that before governments start using it. Everything about this whole topic got really political really quick, which is weird. But yeah, that's the verdict. Smash like.